Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the UBC podcast. LULULEMON Summer Internships for 2022 went live on Feb 14th. Now I had an opportunity to participate in the program in its first installment in September 2021. With this video, I'm hoping to give you an insight into what that experience was like, what you can expect from the program, and also some tips that can help you prepare a strong application so you can get this opportunity for yourself. So throughout this video, I'll cover a few things. First, being the application process. Second, my own internship experience, and also some tips that can help you prepare a strong application. So let's get right into it. Now let's talk about the application process. There were three main stages. The first one being the resume and the cover letter stage. So pretty standard, you were expected to apply with a resume and a short cover letter relating to the positions you were interested in. With the upcoming summer internship program though, the recruiting team has actually recommended that you'd rather pick one position that you're really interested in and do justice to that application as opposed to picking a few, but make your own choice. If you make it past the resumes and the cover letter stage, you get an interview with the recruiter. Now this interview was fairly simple, nothing specific that you had to prepare for, but a lot of behavioral questions and situational questions that would help the recruiter understand who you really are, what your personality is, and what your interests are. And if you get past that, you get an interview with the hiring manager who represents the team that is looking to add you as an intern. Now specifically with my second interview, I wasn't really asked any technical questions. Now this might be different for those of you applying for more technical roles, or maybe the hiring manager for that team is looking for a candidate with a specific skill set. But overall, you can expect that interview to also be a bit behavioral, situational, and in my case, it was about understanding how I approach problems and what my thought process was. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experience. I applied for the Omni and Retail Technology Strategy intern. I picked this role because technology and strategy are big interests of mine, and this role seemed to be the perfect intersection between those two. I joined the Retail Technology Operations team, which handled a bunch of programs and projects that dealt with internal software, in-store hardware, and e-commerce platforms. And for those of you who don't know, my long-term career interest is actually to be a product manager, so this role, which included both tech and strategy, was perfect for me. And another neat thing was that I joined a team which was full of product managers, so I got to observe up close what a product manager's daily life looks like and get some insight on what it takes to be a product manager at a company like LULULEMON. I'm going to talk about a few things that I did for the first time at my internship at LULULEMON. The first being that I wrote my first GR ticket. Now, as I said before, I'm really interested in product management, and something that product managers and business analysts do commonly is write tickets. I'd never written a GR ticket before, so I had the opportunity to write it for the first time and also sit on a call with a couple of business analysts and a designer who actually actively asked me questions about the requirements and the user stories that I'd written. Now, this was very fun because I actually got to understand how product teams operate. The second fun thing I did was that I actually sat on a call with all the other interns on a 45-minute conversation with the CEO of LULULEMON, Calvin McDonald. Now, it's very difficult for anybody to get FaceTime with a CEO of a company the size of LULULEMON, but the internship program made it happen for us. We got to listen to his journey getting to LULULEMON, and we also got to ask him questions about what pieces of learning he has for us and some tips that he'd want us to keep in mind. Another fun thing that I got to do was to ask a question to the goalkeeper of Canadian women's soccer team, Steph Morrison, who also plays for Paris Saint-Germain in France. Now, this was a big moment for me because I'm a huge soccer fan, and I'd never been this close to asking a question to a pro player. Other fun things in the program included weekly intern events. The internship team actually coordinated weekly hour-long events for all the interns to take part in. These weekly events allowed all of us interns to get together and ask each other questions and get to know each other better, and also sometimes just decompress after a long day of work. Something else that stood out to me during the internship program was the structure of mentorship. Each intern was assigned a buddy and a mentor within the team who was not the hiring manager. So we got to spend time with another person at LULULEMON who we could ask questions about their journey getting to LULULEMON, or how they feel about their work, and also just getting introduced to the company because it's huge. Now, a mentor, on the other hand, was someone you could get guidance from. You could still ask them as many questions about anything that you wanted, but it was more so in the line of getting insights and guidance into succeeding in your internship or having a long-term career plan. Something that really stood out to me about my internship experience at Lulu was what my manager did for me on my first day. Tracking back to the interview, he'd asked me what are some skills and experiences that I'd want to develop once I graduate from this internship program. On day one, he pulled through with a diagram that showed how each of the projects I was going to work on would help me get those skills or experiences that I was looking to gain. It felt amazing that my manager did that and actually spent time and effort to take a look at what I'd want to gain out of the internship program. It helped set expectations on day one, but also gave me a lot to look forward to with each of those projects and made sure that I get a diverse set of experiences instead of just working on one thing the whole time. Now let's talk about the application process and how you can stand out. Before we get into the details, just keep in mind that all the tips that I tell you today is feedback that I received from my own application and things that I observed from my time with the company. Now this feedback could be different for different roles and could definitely be different depending on your application. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, the LULULEMON Internship Program is a part of the company's IDEA Initiative, which stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Action. So when you're writing your cover letter, make sure you highlight how you can contribute to the IDEA agenda or why it's important to you. Something that I learned throughout my internship process is that despite being a huge company, LULULEMON's work culture is very chill and not that corporate. So I would really encourage you to show your personality through your resume and your cover letter, and show the recruiters and the hiring manager that you'd be a great addition to the team. Before you start your application, do some research on the team that's hiring for that internship position. What do they do? What projects are coming up? Have they been in the news lately? What are some new initiatives that are taking up? This will really help you understand not just the scope of the role, but also give you a lot of talking points when you're in the interview or on your cover letter or your resume. The last thing I'll leave you with is that at the time I had applied for this internship program, there had been 2,000 applicants and only 15 interns were selected. Even though they've doubled the cohorts as this time, I can guarantee you that there'll probably be more applicants. So regardless of what happens with your application, reach out and seek feedback and find out what you could do better. Hopefully this internship program happens more often so that more students can get opportunities, and you want to make sure that if it doesn't work out this time, it will the next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Hopefully I gave you enough insight into what the internship program looks like and also some tips that can help you prepare a strong application. Check the description of this video for links to the actual postings and also an article written by the recruiter who's leading the internship program. Thank you so much for tuning in to the UBC podcast.